Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie with me, Richard Vobes, here at the helm, flying solo on a Wednesday, the 28th of April 2021. It's very nice to see you. And big welcome to Fran and Rich floating our boat in their lovely new boat. Well done and congratulations to you guys. How exciting it must be. Desperately interested to hear a report on how it's going. And it's nice to see that you're able to watch the show. No doubt you've been cruising around the last few days, putting yourself into jet motion. The wash going everywhere and the water just flying out of the canal. Excellent stuff. Lovely to see you. And hello to everybody else. Welcome along on this midweek show. It's very good to see you. I hope you're all doing well. We have another bumper crop of videos for you in tonight's show, which is great news. Thank you very much for sending them in. We also have news that G-Ramp did get home after his visit here on Monday. You may remember we were slightly worried because we hadn't heard from him, and we thought maybe the battery had run out or the clockwork mechanism in his car had conked, but he did actually get home. He went off to see his sisters, but I didn't realise they were actually miles apart. One was at one end of the England in John O'Groats, the other one was down there at Land's End, it seems. I thought they were both together, living together, you see, and I made that fatal error of believing what I first thought. But it turns out they were miles apart, and he went to see one, didn't get home till 9, poor bugger. And then by which time he'd spoken to his wife, it was time for bed. So he didn't get to see the show. He started to watch the show and then fell asleep. It's very easily done. This show is a cure for insomnia, as many people have told me, jokingly and seriously. Yes. Anyway, lovely to see you. Thank you for coming along. Let's find out who is out there in the Vobe sphere on tonight's show. It would be great to have you call in. If you've never called in, do call in on 0793 474 6790. It's always lovely to have a conversazione. That's the bits that I like the best. But we have the lovely Julia, Tool Podge Rog, Colonel Cragratty, Station Master's Choice, all vying for conversazione in the chat room. The lovely Judith is also out there along with Alan Sandell and Daniel Watkins, which is nice to have you guys there as well. Kerry Baldwin, and we have Mark Burgess. Hello to you. Excuse me. Hello to you both. Colonel Cragratty, I may have sent. Mark's Adventures, Station Master's Choice. Did I mention them? I probably did. David Vatt, Sean Ford, Sean James Cameron, Emily Champion. The Champs is out there tonight. She has survived, let's hope, her Seaford expedition down to the edge of the Seaford cliffs and not fallen off. Let's hope not. Had some lovely weather down there when you were there the other week, Emily. It must have been superb. Give us a call. Tell us all about it. We also have out there Alison O'Brien, Andy Stacey, G-Ramps. He says, we've had a lot of rain Ah, bless you. I hope you're... We've had a little bit of rain, but not much, funnily enough. I could do with a bit more rain on my weed garden. My wildflower garden. It's not weeds. They're not weeds. They just look like weeds to anybody else who passes by and has a look and thinks, hello, a minute. What's going on there? That looks a bit suspiciously like a big pile of weeds. That bloke doesn't know how to look after his house. But each one has been specifically planted in a special place to make it look more random, you see. Jen Coley is also out there. Said hello to Floating Our Boat. Lovely to see you guys. Daniel Watkins, I think I've already mentioned. Elaine Whitelock, lovely to see you. Just going to scrolly down. Sensible Paul, Andrew Norris, Ernie Samet, Tally-O. Did rain stop play for you this morning? No, I did do a thing inside, in actual fact, which will be winging to you. I can't give you too many outdoor ones, you know. I'd be spoiling you. Plus, if I run out of local places to go. Who else have we got there? We have Ian Dance. Hello, Ian. I sent you an email to say thank you so much for that book, The £2 Pram, which I'm eager to get reading, but I'm trying to get through this very depressing book by Trevor Rowley, which is a fascinating but depressing because it's all the changes that have happened in the last 100 years in the UK or in England. And it's very depressing because so much change has happened. The uglification of Britain, the building up on our fine green lands, the using up of the potential farmland, the new-fangled ways of doing things, the complete change of what's happened to the village. It's all a bit of a nightmare. We have a call coming in early in the show. Let's find out who that happens to be. Hello to you, lovely caller.
Hello, Mr. Vobes.
Hello.
It's the Champs.
Hello, Champs. Nice to hear from you. Did you
Hello
survive?
There. I survived, yes. I even put my feet in the sea.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, it was fresh.
I was going to say, it must have been a little bit cold.
I'll tell you what, though.
Yeah.
Because I didn't put my my water shoes on, because I normally do that. It felt like I was walking on Lego.
On Lego? Because of the...
Yeah, the pebbles. It felt just like glass or, Lego. That's how painful it was.
Gosh. And so you wear water shoes. Is that what, like, the sort of things that people in wetsuits wear?
Yeah.
I don't know why I did that. I did a funny motion.
Talking of wetsuits, I ordered one this week.
Did you?
And yes, I did.
To do what?
Well, just to wear it.
Oh, I see. I thought I ordered it around the house. Here, you, wetsuit, come here. Do some ironing.
I had to fight to put it on.
You had a fight?
Yeah. I was advised to put plastic bags on my feet, right? I couldn't find plastic bags.
No, because we don't have them.
We now use bag for life.
Bag for life.
I did manage to find dog poo bags.
Right.
Which I put on.
Unfilled ones, presumably.
Unused.
Yes.
Yeah. So I put those on my feet, and I don't know. I guess there's people out there that are listening that have put a wetsuit on before, but that was my first time of doing it, and honestly, I nearly pulled my fingernails off trying to pull the thing up.
Oh, I see. So you were putting these bags on your feet so that you could slide your feet through.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, because that's what I was advised to do.
Because you bought one that's, I mean, they're quite clingy, aren't they? They're quite smaller than you, and you stretch into them.
Yes, and do you know what it felt like? Once I had it up, I didn't quite pull it up enough, so it was a bit baggy on the crotch. So I should have pulled it up a bit more, because what happened then was when I did it up, it felt like, when you give someone a piggyback ride and they grab hold of your throat and you feel like you're being strangled. Yeah. It had that same sensation, like somebody was on my back.
Oh, I see. So you needed to lift it up to just... get it more complete.
Pressure off my throat.
And is it when you ordered it online? Did you?
Yes, and I did all the measurements that it said to do, and I was umming and ahhing because I was thinking, well, it came out as seeming like I was a larger person than I actually am, which worried me, because then I thought, oh, is it going to be too big? And then I thought, no, maybe it might be too small. So I thought, well, I'll go with that size, and I'll see what happens. So obviously once I put it on, and I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know if this is right or not. I did ask some other people who have wetsuits, is that how it's supposed to feel? And they said it does feel different once you're in the water. It doesn't feel like it's strangling you quite as much.
Because because there's a dry suit and there's a wetsuit. So a wetsuit gets wet, and the water comes in. Warm. But then there's that thin layer of water that's sort of between you and the material. Is it neoprene?
Yes, and they're different thicknesses as well. So depending on the time of the year, I
Yeah.
think mine's a 3.5 millimeter one.
Is it like
Yeah,
is it like a duvet?
Yeah. So I've got feathers stuck, like I've been tarred and feathered.
Oh, you're a duck, aren't you? Hello, ducky.
Oh. So yeah, it's mine. I don't know how thick they go.
And what colour is it? Go on, describe the colours.
Well, it's just black with like blue paneling at the top,
right,
on the arms. But to be honest, I did want it brighter than that because I thought, well, if I'm in the sea and I need help, I want someone to be able to see me.
Yeah, exactly.
And not think that I was like a beached orca or something like that.
Yeah. With a blue blowhole. Yeah. So did you go in the water with it?
No,
you've not tried
this
it.
Is the thing. I've not gone in the water, but this is
not even in the bath.
Thing. No, because the thing is, if I then get it wet, and obviously I've got all the labels and things I've got to take off.
Oh, I see.
I can't return it.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, so at what point do you decide? Yeah, at what point do you decide whether you can keep it or not? Because if you shove it, once you've waded out into the sea, if it's the sea, it's going to have salt water on it, so there'll be this residue of
those marks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I did say to the people that said about, maybe try pulling it up from the beginning.
Yeah.
I thought I'll give it another go and see if I need to hoik it up a bit more and see if that makes a difference, and then I'll make a decision, because obviously
they're kind of skin tight, aren't they, really?
Yeah, there is a bit of purchase on it. So it's not it's not entirely tight. That's the funny thing, it doesn't feel like it's constricting me.
Is it like a cat? Like a cat, a mother will pick up a kitten and because you can hold it by the scruff, and so you feel like the skin is, the animal is in this bag of fur.
Yes.
Is it a bit like that?
Yeah, because it's a bit elasticy.
Yes.
So I feel like a superhero, like I can.
It's interesting because I have got a wetsuit. I got a wetsuit when I got my kayak, which I have got this kayak, which I don't, since I lost my eye in 2006, I haven't been in the kayak because the fear of it flipping over and then my eye dropping out. In the water, because if I open my eyes in the water could easily push the eye out. So, and I don't have a spare one.
You need a life jacket for your eye.
Yeah, if only you could get them with that little ring, that you could.
Eye.
Yeah, that would be much better. Eye. Yeah, just with a little homing beacon, so you could get your phone and go, oh, it's floating over there somewhere. Hang on. Aye, Captain. It's in that direction. Exactly. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, it'd be like a message in a bottle. Like, what's that looking at me?
Who's that looking?
Is
that
fish
somebody?
Eyes.
God. Yeah, imagine that. If a fish,
creature from the deep.
Imagine if somebody with a one eye fell overboard and was eaten died, and his body was eaten by the fish. And then there's just this, and it ate the eye. One of them ate this eye, and it sort of got lodged in its side. And the fisherman then fishes it out the water one day, and there's this fish with 3 eyes.
God, it'd be like under scientific investigation, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? And then they get the DNA and go, my God, that fish has eaten the Vobes. So anyway, I have got this neoprene thing, and actually I found it was I quite enjoyed wearing this thing because it was figure hugging. Back in those days, because I was a bit younger and my figure was probably a bit more nearer to manhood than...
Svelte.
Yes, of all the svelte I've ever svelte, I've never svelte a man the way he's felt. Anyway, so, but I haven't put it on. It's probably perished now. It's probably all perishable.
Yeah, you'll probably put it on. It'll be all like dry and, like an old plastic bag, when it all...
like like rubber underlay. That starts to sort of perish and turn into little tiny flakes of... Yeah, you wouldn't want that going in the ocean because then they'll say, oh, you're polluting the ocean, you are. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So you don't know what to do. I wonder if anybody out there has...
Well, I've just seen Judith has put on there, she's just bought a wetsuit and she says she's not worn it in the water yet, but it feels like she's wearing a straitjacket. So I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Have you still got your coracle? Yes, I have, Robert Croser. And does it come with a mask, says somebody I just saw. Sean says, does it come with a mask?
No, it's not like...
It's not a snorkeler, is it?
What do you call it? Like what do you call them? The seals, the Navy SEAL. What they call those ones?
What, deep sea divers?
Yeah. No, I'm not one of those, but because I have to wear prescription goggles because otherwise I can't see anything.
Ah,
But,
yeah, of course. I mean, I have the same issue, except I just need a prescription
well,
monocle.
do you know what? Thinking of that actually
Hmm.
about your eye, because I put off for ages getting prescription sunglasses because not sunglasses, the goggles,
Yeah,
because my glasses cost a lot of money. But
yeah.
then I said to the optician, "Oh, do you do goggles?" And they said, "Yeah." They said, "It's 20 quid." And I thought, all these years
You've had
that I could
expensive
have,
glasses. You could have
and
had cheap goggles.
I could have just worn swimming goggles.
And can you see
So
through the goggles?
yeah, it's just like normal glasses, and they're tinted as well. So like obviously when you're outside,
So
they're like sunglasses.
if you're a bit poor and you can't afford glasses and the
Yes,
frames,
yeah.
you could just buy goggles and go around
Pe-
with big goggles on.
Yeah, people think you're special.
They would think you're special. Yeah, that's very true. So you better come and sit down here, Richard. We'll look after you. Don't worry. What?
As you rock in your perished wetsuit.
Can I, please, sir? Imagine
Give
it's.
me your eye.
Can I wear my wetsuit as well as my goggles? Are you taking a piss, Vobes? No, sir. I'm special. Oh dear. So so when did your holiday? So when you went and put your foot in the beach and you were wearing all of that, you didn't have your lovely stuff. Does it come with
No.
boots? Does it come your wetsuit?
No, you can get those separately.
Because
So,
mine
yeah,
came
that
with
would be the next
boots.
thing.
It came with
Did it?
these little diddy, you know.
Oh, so you had a onesie. It's
Well,
like a
the
onesie.
boots were separate and gloves.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
But the thing,
Was it expensive? Was it quite expensive?
well, I cannot remember. I
Well,
think
yeah,
it was.
it's
Yeah, I
right.
think it was expensive. I mean, we're talking about 2000, I think, because the reason I
Yeah.
got it was I was making a pilot for a TV program that never went anywhere about what was it about? It was about 5 minutes long.
Tell me it's something to do with water.
Yeah, no, it was about. It was called. I've told people about it before. It was called Oddball Eccentrics, and one of the things was about a bloke who lived in water, an old English lord, who just immersed himself in water and wouldn't come out. And in order
Right.
to do this thing, it's completely unrelated, but I knew somebody who had a kayak, and so we filmed in his kayak, but I had a wetsuit, and then I thought I wouldn't mind a kayak, so I bought a kayak off Brighton Beach,
Yeah.
and this kayak that I bought off Brighton Beach by the sea, because
Yeah.
that's what a beach is, turns out that these kayaks that were being sold down in Brighton, I'm stressing the fact that it's on a beach.
Yeah. Yeah.
These kayaks were for river rapids. They were like stunt
okay.
bikes for not stunt bikes.
Yeah. Like that program. Do you remember that program that used to be on? With the river rapids. You know. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, no. Well, these
Sure someone will know.
basically they were the wrong. They weren't sea kayaks.
Right.
I mean, I could see
So
it.
it was.
And the bloke was just sitting there, selling them. Like, got a kayak, mate? Pardon? I thought you
Yeah.
sold ice creams. Oh, to do an ice cream, but do you want a kayak?
Falling off the lorry.
Yeah, it's about 300. I think it was £350, as I remember. This kayak, plastic thing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can get them cheaper now.
I bet you can. Well, I've still got this. I keep thinking I should sell it because I never use
Yeah.
it. But then on the other hand, I often think
test it out.
I should go up the rivers and
Yes,
film.
go-
But I
Yeah,
still
'cause
worried that I'll flip because these are the kayaks that you had these rubber skirts that you put round, and if
Yeah.
you flip over, you're stuck and you drown.
Oh,
Unless you
yeah.
know how to
that
write
makes
it.
you panic.
Oh,
Yes,
mate, I
yes.
couldn't
Yeah,
cope with that.
No. Maybe because I guess then it's a canoe. Then is it? If it's got the
I don't know.
it's got that skirt in it.
Well, I thought the
'Cause I think
canoe
that's
was
the
like
difference.
yeah, I thought the canoe was the open ones. The long thing. You get the
I think they just
I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, certainly I would get the open ones because then you can literally like swim out, couldn't you, if it turns over?
Yes, those I don't mind. When you know you're going to fall. But anyway, that was a bit of fun, wasn't it?
So we'll have to test out your wetsuit. We'll have to test it out with Judith and anyone else that's got a wetsuit.
We will have a wetsuit party. We get Judith
Yeah.
down, you down, and whoever else has got a wetsuit, and we'll all go. We want somewhere where you can make a big splash. Mind you, I would probably have to go in tentatively in case my eye fell out.
Well, yeah.
Unless I've got these goggles.
Get those goggles.
Yeah, I'll be all right with those goggles.
Yeah, that will hold it in.
Yes. I could always have one blacked out and actually take the eye and put it in
a pirate patch.
That's right.
Yeah.
I could do, yeah, because you could just take the eye. Well, I never thought of that. I could just take the eye and put it in with all my other personal belongings, you know.
Effects,
as you do. You leave your pants on the beach, don't you? And an eye.
And then a seagull comes.
Boom. And that's
then drops it in someone's fish and chips.
Yeah, they go, aye, what's this? Is this a pearl?
Pay for that.
Dear, oh dear.
Yeah, I think it's their onions out of the jar.
It could well be. Those pickled onions that they sell in, and those dodgy-looking eggs. Who buys those?
Oh yeah, who has the egg?
I mean,
that's gross. I have gherkin sometimes.
Yes, a gherkin. I don't mind because it's something about an egg in a.
No, that's not right.
In brown liquid, sitting in a jar.
That's like putting ketchup on a curry. I mean, it's not cricket, is it?
No, no, that's true. I just think it's very odd because I just think the eggs must surely go off, and how would you ever know?
It's gross. It's not. I mean, I used to work in a fish and chip shop.
Did you?
Yeah, and they always used to say for those gherkins, they called them wallies, and they would ask for a wally.
Right.
I don't know why they called them that, but yeah. So I'd have that, and I can't remember what the name they. Some people wanted just like the burnt crispy bits of the chips that were left in the.
Oh right.
In the fryer thing, so you'd have to scrape it off the back and burn all your knuckle hair and everything.
Yeah, come back at closing time when the fat has settled.
Yeah. Ooh. And there was a few times when people wanted their Mars bars deep fried as well.
And they don't melt?
No, funnily enough. They literally, once you've battered it, it kind of just seals it.
So are they warm though? Or just...
Yeah, they'll be warm. A bit like if you've warmed up like a marshmallow over a fire, it's just like gooey. Yeah,
I guess there's a certain amount of time, because if you leave it in for half an hour, probably...
Well, that's that.
That's it.
It'll explode.
And then if you melted a Mars bar in the liquid, in the fat, or the oil, I suppose it is, that would contaminate.
Yes.
There's a word there.
Yes, all the fish. Yeah.
All the fish, and you'd have slightly chocolatey, caramel chocolate fish.
You'd have a skid mark on the back of the fish.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because I wonder, it's accidents like that suddenly could set a whole trend. Somebody accidentally chucked in, a few of them, and people are going, this chocolate cod, is nice.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. People putting chili on chocolate and all sorts.
They do. I know. People are very experimental, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I know some things work, but not everything.
Well, clearly not everything.
No.
Otherwise, we'd have it on you'd never get to the end of a menu, would you? What would you like? Chicken chips with chocolate and chili, aniseed chicken.
God.
Pardon? Aniseed chicken. I don't think I'll have aniseed chicken.
No. It's like putting Pernod on something. Oh, goodness.
Yes, there we go. We've had these poor old chickens have been force-fed on Pernod. But now when we kill them, they don't run around like a headless chicken. Yes,
staggering around. Selling their eggs to the fish and chip shop.
Yeah. Have another couple of eggs, Mark. What was that door open? Anyway, I better move on, really.
Yes, but, I know. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Going on and on about
no, it's been a love. Thank you so much for calling. I'm glad you had a lovely holiday anyway.
Yes, it was good. It was nice to get out.
And let us know when you get your wetsuit damp.
Yes, when I actually put it on properly, I'll take a picture.
What will it be the first thing you do? Go in a swimming pool, I suppose. You could go in a swimming pool, couldn't you?
Well, I did think that, but then I read somewhere that it said the chlorine can damage it over prolonged use. So I don't know.
That's it. Just sit in the bath. Probably the best, isn't it? Just sit in the bath. Safest.
Yeah.
Safest. Or the shower.
Yeah, got to get the poo bags off the feet as well. God.
Saves buying those shoes, doesn't it? Anyway, take care. Lovely to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speak
No.
to you again
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah. Take care. Bye, Emily.
Bye.
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 There we are. That was the Champs telling us about her neoprene wetsuit. If you have any experience of neoprene wetsuits, then you can tell us all about it here on the Vobes show. It's all good fun. I had deep fried Mars bar once. Surprisingly nice, says Station Master's Choice. And Linda Kane said, had fish and chips sitting on the front at Worthing yesterday. First time I've had fish and chips for years. Oh, what was it now? Where did you get it from? Vita, I think, is the best place to buy your chips from. I don't eat fish, but they do nice chips. I can tell you that much. Bit of free advertising. And Sensible Paul says you need to make sure that you go to the right website for your rubber suit. Yes, you don't want to go to the wrong kind of site because they'll sell it to all sorts of gimps, apparently. Anyway, there we go. That was all good fun. We are now going to have a look at some flowers because young Bonnie sent in a video and we tried to play it in last week, but Bonnie was not around because she had the undertakers in. Not the undertakers. What do you call them? The people who move furniture about. Not the removal men. The decorators. Is Bonnie out there? I don't think she's out. Is she there? Is Bonnie out? They've probably got the decorators again. But we can't hold up the video, so let's go in and have a look anyway.
I'd like to introduce you to my tulips, which I planted 3 years ago when we moved here. And they come up each year, and then the wind blows and all the petals get blown away. But while they're here, they're so beautiful. The colours are amazing. This one's lovely. Little snowflake flowers hovering above. There's some grape hyacinths underneath. See a purple tulip coming up. That's new this year. Just watch the tulips in the wind. Hear the birds' song in the trees. These are wych elms opposite. You might hear a bit of road noise, hopefully not too much. Tulips have been out for about 10 days now, but soon they'll be gone. We'll see them again next year. Hope you enjoyed this.
What a shame that tulips don't stay out I thought the tulips would be out, because you get tulips from Amsterdam. I thought they'd be out for weeks. But I guess everything has its time. Thank you very much, Bonnie. There we go. If you're growing anything a little bit unusual or just usual, then do let us know. How is it getting on in the weather that we've had? Is everything a bit early? Some people have said, oh, those bluebells that you filmed, they're a bit early. Are they? I don't know. They seem to come round every year. If they were around at Christmas, I think they'd be a bit early. Either that or late, I suppose. But lovely tulips there. Nice to see them, all different colours. And, of course, the purple one, I'm sure that lovely Julia was very eager to see some of those. It's interesting. Are they, I guess they're not a natural, what do you call it when it's something that is... what do you call it when you come from this country? There's a word, isn't there? Not inebriated, but it's like that. Inhibited? No. Something that is from the country that it comes from, that is a natural-born killer. It's called... I can't remember. That's probably what it is. Now, we were also slightly concerned about G-ramps in the last Monday show because we were worried that his car wouldn't get him home. He came over in this clockwork car, which he'd this electric car, which he had plugged in at home. And then he got here and he plugged it into the Genie Point, which is one of these little lamps in the street. You untake the lamp, the little street lamp, unplug that, put the bulb carefully down, and then very gingerly you shimmy up the thing, plug in the little plug like that, and you can get a lot of electricity out of that for free. Obviously, you have to wait for them to turn their lamps on at night because they don't tend to turn them on in the daytime. But, it was something to do. And it was very nice to see him do that and apparently charge up his car. And then when we said goodbye to him, which we did using our mouths and waving, using our hands, he shot off at a good 3 miles an hour. And it was lovely to watch him crawl away into the distance. But we didn't hear whether or not he'd got home. And one of the reasons was that I think because the police have been after him. And now if you watch this little clip, which we're going to show you next, you will see how the police have been trying to track him down, in actual fact, because he's a very dodgy sort of person. I'm just trying to find where it is. Here we go. And luckily, he on this particular occasion escaped by the skin of his teeth.
When you get to that Newcastle, it ain't so clever, is it? It's all skinny roads. At the end of that coast road. I saw the coppers doing. I should have blasted her. The government is embarking on a campaign to boost public confidence. See, they can get away with that. Look. Now, if I'd done that to them, they'd be chasing me now.
Well, have you got it on your camera?
Probably have.
Yeah. Or have you switched it on?
But the good news is...
No, remind me to take that out when we get back.
With us having published them, it's not only the UK regulator...
What, when we get back to our house?
Yeah, because otherwise it'll right over it. When it gets full, it starts all over again.
Side effect, the vaccine is safe. This comes as figures from a government commission.
Well, I don't know if you noticed in there that Matt Hancock seemed to be in the car with him, chatting about the vaccine, which was rather disturbing to have Matt Hancock doing a press release in the back seat. No wonder the police were out. G-Ramps had obviously nicked the health secretary. So that was a bit of a shame. No wonder he's got such dead eyes when he makes a speech. He's probably remembering the time he sat in the G-Ramps car and the police nearly crashed into him. But there we are. Anyway, thank you so much, Chris. It was lovely to see you on Monday, and thank you so much for the wonderful gifts which he did give me, and that was very kind. So now I've got some ointment which the doctor has given me, and apparently it will clear up. So that's nice. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to Hong Kong. Yes, not to see some phooey. Oh no, this is Rupert Utley, who is down under, desperately trying to get out of Hong Kong, but due to the communist state that it is unable to escape. So he's been sellotaped to a chair, and they're doing some sort of water treatment to him. However, he thought he'd share a little bit of water with us, as he's gone to the... Now, I'm going to kill this name because I don't speak Chinese. It's... in English, that is Chai Ma Wan. And I'm sure that's not actually how it's pronounced. But let's see how it should be pronounced. Rupert, take it away.
Here in Hong Kong, in parts, some of the most densely populated spots on planet Earth, I am in one of the country parks. This one is Chi Ma Wan Peninsula on Lanto Island, which is mostly country park. And I'll be lucky if I see anyone all day. Some snakes, maybe. Hello, mock viper. Just coming up to Longmay Dam. This is a Victorian dam built by British engineers and British Chinese, I suppose you would say, back then at the end of the 19th century. Still standing, good quality. One of many dams that create our reservoirs around Hong Kong to provide our water. This one translates to Dragon Tail, and this is a Dragon Tail reservoir. Not a huge one, but quite a pretty one. Surrounded by jungle and nature in the Chimawan Peninsula on Lantau Island. So Chima means sesame, as in sesame oil. That island over there is called Cheung Chau. Has a fishing fleet, and of course this time of year starts getting a bit hazy, but in the distance is Hong Kong Island with all the tall skyscrapers. Of course it's now that time of the day where you can't really see them from here. That's about 30 minutes boat ride, so a lot of people live on this island and commute into the central business district each day, which is a sensible thing to do. It's down to Shaplong Beach, and there's Pui O and Sunset Peak and Lantau Peak. So we have a lot of egrets nesting or roosting up in that tree over there. And we have a lot of egrets because we have a lot of buffalo, and they peck at the ticks and parasites on the buffaloes. So unlike Richard Vobes, at the end of a walk, goes back to the Vobes mobile Ford Transit. I come back to my motorcycle. And as George Orwell said, 4 wheels bad, 2 wheels good. Well, I hope you enjoyed that walk around Chimawan. Until next time, 再见.
And I bet he zooms off into the sunset in that. Interesting that you got all those idiots over there that you said that peck away at the buffalo or whatever it was. Did you say idiots? Egypts or something? And of course, that's the land where Big Bird comes from, clearly. Because when I was much younger, I used to watch Sesame Street, and I think Big Bird came from there, out of that jungle. So there we are, nice. And it's good that the Victorians, the Chinese, English Victorians made all that to give you the water. I did think it looked a bit green, however, but it's probably only novice water. So there we are. Thank you so much, Rupert. That's fantastic to see that. We're going to see some more of Hong Kong. Seeing as we can't easily get there and probably would never be able to get out alive, it would be interesting to see more of it. I dare say many of your fellow countrymen will be making their way back to Britain, about 3.5 million of them, isn't there? Something like that. But we've said, no, come, because we've got plenty of space on the Isle of Wight for you. Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much indeed. If anybody else has been out to a similar place, want to tell me about it, then why not give me a call, 0793 4746 790. Where's the most exotic place that you've been to? Give us a call. Tell me about the most exotic, or conversely, the complete opposite, the dullest, most boringest, absolutely wish I'd never booked here place that you've ever been to. Anticipating somewhere nice and discovering actually not as good as you thought. Give us a call, 0793 4746 790. Number is on the screen. Don't ask me to repeat it, which is 0793 4746 790. Love to know. Most exotic place or most dull and boring? And what was it like? And how did you remedy it? And where would you go if you could? I've been to the Ukraine, says Mike Stevens. Colonel Craig Ratty, on the other hand, has been to the Isle of Wight. Mark's Adventure says, I have 2 friends who've just cycled through China, Richard, and had no problems whatsoever. They're in Singapore now. Oh, well, that's all right then. Oops, have you got time for my exotic places, says Bonnie. And I went to Bora Bora, says Michael White. I've been to somewhere like that. I think it was Bora Bora or Boredom. I can't remember exactly what it was called. Kenya, says Jackie Lowe. Las Vegas, says Steve Baker. He was on the fruit machine, the fruit salad machine, obviously, because of Mr. Sims, the sweet shop. Titus. Sorry, my glasses can't. There's too many close letters together there, Station Master's Choice. I went to the Arctic Circle for a day from Cardiff, says Sean James Cameron. As you do, in a jet fighter, no doubt. Moscow Airport, scary. I bet there was a lot of blokes with, what do they have over there, AK-59s or something? The most boring place went to, says Steve Baker, is Worthing. Oh, well, I'm sure there are more boring places than that. Russia was interesting, says Bonnie H. Maldives on honeymoon, says Robert Coast. I thought the Maldives, with all this global warming, was inches from going under about 10 years ago. Wasn't it 10 years ago? That the Maldives, they said, oh, yes, they'll be the first to disappear because of ocean rising and the warming of everything. I believe they're still there, and I believe they still sell property there. And you do wonder, don't you, if banks who, give these green credentials say, well, we'll lend you the money on a 25-year lease on the basis that it won't go under the water. I mean, they must know. That's why I think the whole thing is a hoax. I think the whole thing is a complete, utter hoax, this global man-made side of it. I don't think we got 12. I think the little doom goblin has got it all wrong. I don't know what she has for her breakfast. Was it cold, SJC, in the, where did he go? The acid circle or somewhere? Somewhere exotic, anyway. Michael White says, I've been to Coventry. He was sent there. Very nice place to be sent, actually. Depends when you go. If you went before the Second World War, it's probably a lot nicer. Turkey is quite an interesting country, says Ian Dance. When you say, it's interesting, yeah. What was interesting about it, though? Blackpool leaves me cold. I was there in 2000 in the Maldives. So there we go. That's interesting. And so there we are. So it was obviously there then. Is it still there now? Surely it's supposed to have disappeared. All this, all this doom and gloom. Do you ever worry that this doom and gloom never actually comes to anything? We keep getting told for years and years we've had doom and gloom. Never actually happens, does it? It's always like we've got 20-second memories. Every few years we get told there's going to be another disaster, a pandemic or something. It doesn't really happen, does it? The Galapagos was interesting. The Galapagos, I can never pronounce these things, showing my ignorance, of course. The Galapagos. That was what was fascinating about it, though. It's all very well saying that it was fascinating. That's not precise enough. We need to know what was fascinating about it. In which way? Judith says, I can think of lots of dull places in the UK. It was beautiful, says Mark Burgess. And Sean James Cameron says, when I was at school in the 80s, they taught us that the world was going to get colder over the next 40 years. That's right. We were going to have the mini ice age, weren't we? We were going to have another ice age because we'd had the ice age in the 17, whenever it was, when the Thames went cold and froze over and they took printing presses. There's a picture, there's a woodcut, I think it is, of the Thames, and on there is a printing press. Now, a printing press is very heavy, and it's on the ice of the Thames. Shoeberryness was quite boring, says it was. In what way was it boring? What was boring? You see, these are bland statements, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. I need a little bit more information on that. In what way was it boring? The place I'd really like to go is Freedom. I think Mel Gibson lives there. Oh, yeah. What's exciting about that? Tell me more. Minnehaha, says Dave Ivad, care of nothing. China or Thailand are lovely places and great cultures, says Jamie Parker. Nuclear winters, says Mark Burgess, and the Thames froze over in the 1940s. There you go. How about that? Fort William, after being there one day. Which what? Boring or exciting? 0793 474 6790. Give us a call and tell me about it. Be interested to know. But Bonnie says, I'll phone you. Here we go. We do have videos to play, mind you. So here we go. Bonnie is calling. Let's find out what was interesting and boring about where Bonnie went. So, Bonnie, I know you've been all around the world and you've done everything. Of course, we know that. But let's just... Oh, hang on. I can hear myself back now. Could you just tell us about one interesting place and what was interesting about it? You don't have to, but it would be nice if you did. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, that's better. So, what I thought I'd talk about is the Solomon Islands.
So where are they?
So they are across the world and down a bit.
Across the world and down a bit. Left or right?
So it depends which way you go around the world. So if you go towards Australia, you keep going and then it's down a bit. So they're in the South Pacific.
Oh, okay.
And there's, 999 Solomon Islands. So there's a very old book all about...
there's 999 of them?
Nobody really knows how many there is. So traditionally you say there's 999.
If only there'd been one, they could have rounded it up.
So there might be an island with just 6 palm trees on it and nobody lives on it. So there's a few islands that people live on. But the best thing, the best thing about the islands was everything that was left behind after World War II. So we went there mostly, anyway, for a project I was involved in, but also to look at the World War II stuff. So we went on islands where there were still tanks, American tanks, from World War II. And basically all the stuff was abandoned there because they're not going to, take it home. And there were trees growing up through tanks, and the tank had been split in half because there was this huge tree through the middle of it. There were aeroplanes, Japanese aeroplanes that had been downed, and they were in the forest still, and American aeroplanes, and because they were made of aluminium, they hadn't rusted. And there was still all the switches and knobs were still, visible. And you could sit in the aeroplane in the forest. It was fascinating. It was like a film set, really. But of course, go on.
No, I was going to say, did you meet the locals? What did the locals make of it all?
Yeah, so we paid this taxi driver. Oh, weirdly enough, we arrived in the Solomons 2 weeks after William and Kate were there. Prince William and Kate were there for some trip. And they'd only just got married, and they were staying in this hotel room. And when we arrived, when we got to the reception desk of this hotel room, because mostly we go rough stuff, but when you arrive, it's good to book in somewhere. And because we showed British passport, they went, "Oh, Kate and William," and they gave us their room.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, so we get taken up to this room, and it had an adjoining room where the detectives stay. And we got into this room. It was panoramic views and everything. But as they opened the door, a huge cockroach ran under the bed.
Blimey, it didn't sound very hygienic then.
I know. So I don't know if William and Kate got that special privilege of the giant cockroach. Anyway, a few months later, when we got back and everything, there was a big splash article in the red top papers, the Sun or something. And it said that they'd worked out that Kate had got pregnant whilst in the Solomons. So I was like, oh, my God, we slept in the bed where, Prince George was created. So that's my claim to fame there.
Well, let's hope they change the sheets. That's all I can say. How interesting.
But there was a cockroach there. Anyway.
Well, that's it. Maybe it was the cockroach doing the impregnation. You never know. We'll have to wait now.
Very bizarre. So every time I look at Prince George, pictures of him, he's a little boy, isn't he? I always think, oh my God, I slept in the bed when you were made. So that's just.
But not at the same time. We should just point that out. Not at the same time as much as.
We were there 2 weeks later.
I'm just putting some pictures up of the Solomon Islands as we go. There's some pictures going up there with very unusual shapes. Is it just purely that the water is actually quite low?
Yes, it's a coral sea.
Right. Okay. So these islands, if the tide goes out, probably doesn't, but if it did, it would just be a beach and some islands and a lot of trees.
When you're hopping between the islands,
Yeah.
you can. It's about 9 meters, I think. So you can go and not scuba dive. What's the other
Snorkel?
one? Oh, snorkel. So hubby was snorkeling down to look at old Japanese aeroplanes that were on the seabed and, things like that. But you were asking about the locals. So we went off travelling around and sorry, I'm talking about the Solomon Islands. Okay, bye. No, it's hubby's just come in to find out what it's up to.
Oh,
anyway,
right.
Sorry,
hubby. Wife's talking to the Vobes show. Yes, so clear off. It's outrageous, isn't it? I don't know. These married people who have the other half come in, interrupted. Sorry, do you mind? I'm talking to the Vobes show. This is very important. Talking about the Solomon Islands. Now, go and get the dinner ready, for goodness sake. Is that how you treat it? Poor husband. Poor bloke. I'm talking. Dear, oh dear.
I think he came in to demand something, but anyway.
Oh, I see.
He can't demand things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
We're doing a bit of William and Kate tonight. All right, love? Bit of William and Kate. Is that what you call it now?
Anyway, so back to the...
That made her laugh.
So we got a taxi driver and paid him something like 10 quid, and that was twice what he was asking.
Yeah.
And we had this taxi driver for the day.
Yeah.
I call it a taxi driver. It was more of a flatbed truck.
Right.
With a pig in the back, that sort of thing. Anyway, and then he took us round all the.
Where was the pig
farms.
going? What kind of fare did he pay? That's what I want to know.
Well,
poor bloke.
If you book a taxi for the day,
Yeah.
anybody who needs a ride can hitch a ride because
Right.
there aren't that many vehicles. So we
Including
gave a ride
animals,
to-
by the sounds of things.
Yeah, we gave a ride to a pig and a guy who was trying to get from one place to another. There was a pregnant lady on the way to the hospital, so we gave her a
Yeah.
ride. There was a family that needed to go somewhere. So
Sorry, I'm
they
having a
hitched
ride in this truck. Get out. Go and make the dinner. Is that what you said to hubby? It's all right. William and
That's
Kate
right.
tonight. You're on a promise.
And this guy just took him round to all his cousins, basically. Everybody's a cousin there. And
Interbred, are they?
Showed us all these tanks, etc. We also met the tribe that believed that Prince Philip is a god, or was a god.
Yeah. He's with God now.
It's called a cult, a cult, and they believe in
The monarchy.
Well, basically, it all started in World War II when the Americans threw Red Cross boxes out of aeroplanes, and they landed in the Solomon Islands and had this Red Cross thing on. And they didn't understand. They're tribal people. They thought it was things coming from the gods, And so they
made
started
in
to
Taiwan, unfortunately, which was round the corner.
Exactly. So they created this religion based on the Red Cross boxes. So there's all sorts of these different cults there, but it was very interesting.
It's interesting, though. You say that. When you think go back to the sort of Victorian and the early explorers, the sort of Livingstons and all of that, when you think how easy then it must have been as white man comes into native tribe with modern day trinkets to impress those people. There you are, you're saying a few plastic red boxes made in Taiwan with a couple of swabs and a few plasters inside. It was enough to create a deity out of Prince Edward. Think how what it must have been with the Victorians and the way they used to travel with all their sort of paraphernalia and everything, get the old oil lamps going, love. And we'll have a William and Kate this evening, whatever. It must have been very easy for the old British Empire to go in there and just impress people, because you'd think that these natives would be a little bit more up to date, even 80 years ago in the war. But I suppose they don't have television and the social media, do they?
No. When we were in Vanuatu, that was 2010.
When you were, sorry?
Vanuatu, that's a different chain of islands in the South Pacific.
Vanuatu.
The chiefs on different islands had just been given mobile phones by the mobile phone companies and generators. And these chiefs on the islands had one mobile phone and one generator. And they would stir up the generator and get on the mobile phone. And the chiefs could talk to each other across the islands.
Did they have masts?
Don't stop. Anyway, so they...
No, they must have had a mobile phone. You need a mast, don't you, to...
Oh, I thought you said mask.
No, not masks. No, not masks. Mast. I'm just thinking of the cells, you know, mobile phones. There's somebody would come in and go, oh, I just come to service your cell, your mast.
Well,
You're chopping up, cook him.
We were there at the start of mobile phones in Vanuatu. It was quite sad, really, because they'd only just had been given them. They all had Nokia 10s, 310s, whatever.
Yeah.
And what they were using the mobile phones for was buying wives from each other. Because if you buy a wife, you have to offer pigs to buy a wife between the different villages. And it's not as mad as it sounds, because actually what you do is a young boy will be given these pigs to look after, and by the time he's 21, if he's taking care of the pigs, then he takes a sample pig to show the chief and wants to marry his daughter or somebody in his tribe. And he says, look, I can look after this pig. It hasn't died. It's got really curly tusks. So now I'm grown up enough, I'm man enough to take a wife. And the chief says, okay.
And bring her up and then eat her at one point in the New Year celebration. Time to sacrifice the pig. Oh, I've got any pig. We'll do the wife then. You kept that wife all right? Oh, yeah, she's in the pigsty. She's perfectly fine. But what did they do with the phone? Did they just ring up and say, oh, just order a wife, please?
Yes, sort of like that. Yeah,
sort of that.
Much.
And at the same time, get a Chinese takeaway.
But when we were hopping between the islands in Vanuatu, we got on a plane once and there was like 12 seats and a 12-year-old flying it, or it seemed to me like he was about 12. But no, obviously he was older. And the guy sat next to me, he had a piglet on his lap.
Yeah.
Because if you buy a ticket,
you get a free
piglet with you.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the old days when you used to go into Shell, you'd get one of those, you know, little bust or a cup or something, you know, you'd get these things they give you. But over there, of course, promotions are somewhat different. You come with our airline, you get a free piglet. What do you want? You want an elephant? No, you can't take off with an elephant. You get a free piglet. It's lovely. Come and fly with us. We haven't tested these aeroplanes, by the way.
But the buying the wife with the piglets thing wasn't as bad as I thought, because I was a bit horrified. And but on the wedding day, what happens is the father gives the pigs that he's been given by the prospective groom. He gives it to his daughter, and she then keeps the pigs, and that's how she feeds her children. So it's more about asset management.
As long as she's feeding the pigs to the children and not the children to the pigs, you know, very easy mistake to make. But what an interesting. I'm going to have to move on though because we got some videos to play.
That's okay.
But yeah, no, it's interesting, bizarre, but interesting.
Bizarre.
But yes, presumably you nicked the sheet, did you, from that room, and you've got it there hanging up as a memento.
What, the Kate and William sheet?
Yeah,
it was weird sleeping in it.
Yeah,
it was weird sleeping there.
Yeah. You just sniff the pillow.
Anyway, thank you for listening.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for calling. There we are. That was the lovely Bonnie. Take care, Bonnie. All the best.
Bye.
If you can top that, if you've been on an aeroplane in which they've given you a little bit more than a piglet, then we want to know about it. Anyway, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. Interesting times, interesting place. Goodness gracious. So there we are. So those Solomon Islands haven't disappeared under the water then in all that time with all the global warming. I'm never quite sure what's going on here. Right. Sean James Cameron is going to take us inland, ladies and gentlemen, on the Loop, the London Loop. And we are due, I think, for loop number 11.
Just across from the waterways, the Bear and Racket Staff. But I'm crossing over, and we're heading for another garden section. Doesn't look much of a garden, but this is Tannery Gardens. And look at this brilliant artwork over here, and it talks about how bricks were made in the area. It's always good when there's an information board. These are the Tannery Gardens, and there was a factory here from 1906. So if you've got a few minutes, stop here and just enjoy the peace and quiet. And just to confirm that I am going in the right direction, there's our old friend, the London Loop sign. Now, one of the issues of following a walk that was created many years ago is that things change. And I'm looking out for the bus. I'm looking out for the Duke of Wellington pub. But I've just been told that it's been turned into flats. So if you are looking for that pub, then you won't find it. But another landmark to look out for is the Crayford Baptist Church. I just spoke to a local just to confirm that I was looking at the right pub, and I was. But she says this is a different pub on the same road. But as you can see, she's pointed out, they've still got the artwork on the front. Now, opposite that pub is an industrial estate, and today it's made up of all small businesses. But once it used to be famous as the David Evans Silk Factory, which operated for 158 years, from 1843 until it closed in 2001. But I'm not stopping there, I'm carrying on walking. And across from this busy road, it is a pleasure to see allotments, and this looks like a very large site indeed. Polytunnels seem to be the order of the day here, and it's not surprising because that wind is rather biting and they would need the extra shelter. Now, just before we hit the quiet of the fields again, I'm just going to stop here because this is the site of Crayford Cinema, and the only original feature are these posts which used to hold the canopy before you went in to see the latest Charlie Chaplin film. They are carved with shells and ferns. It's time to put the best foot forward because at last we're getting into a quiet part of this section of the loop. I could do with getting away from these cars, to be honest. Well, it's wonderful to get away from that sound of the road. Now, halfway around the park, we meet our old friend, the London Loop sign. And this is one of the disadvantages of walking during the winter months. It's a bit muddy, but we need to go through here because this will take us back to the River Cray.
Muddy old path there, but fascinating about those what do you call them? Those metal canopy holders. Bit of if you didn't know what they were, and I guess most people don't, you would never know that there was once a cinema on that bit of land. And it's interesting because London must be one of those, especially the suburbs of London, must be one of the places in which so much goes on, goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down, that bits of history get left in there, and there's only tiny little trinkets. But thanks to people like Sean James Cameron, who, by the way, I'll be chatting to for my In Conversation With podcast for the patrons of the old Bald Explorer. Tomorrow night, I'll be chatting to him for Sunday's podcast. So if you're one of my patrons, you'll be able to get a nice 45-minute, possibly longer, depending on how long we natter, about life, the universe and everything and all those sort of things. Anyway, just thought I'd point that out. So there we go. London Loop number 11. Thank you very much, Sean. That's absolutely fascinating. Doing good stuff tonight, and it's just past the hour and time for the news. Oh, no, we don't do that here on the show. Let's see how it's all going. Judith is saying you're heading towards Hall Place. Bonnie says, I'll send some photos in of my South Pacific trips. That would be fascinating to see. Michael White's got the wind of change. And Andrew Noyes says, pity about the noise, but I have been enjoying this series of videos. I mean, it's interesting for people like me who doesn't really like going up to London. It's far too urban for me. I'm not keen on it. So it's nice that somebody else does all the hard work, basically. Kerry Baldwin, interesting walk, Sean. I like the history bits. And Agile Now, is it? Well, Algae Now. I think that's how it's pronounced. Crayford Speedway and Dog Track Stadium, now Sainsbury's. So you can still see people speeding along, but they're going round the aisles to see if they can get the 8 items or less before they have to breathe in with those hideous masks. So there we go, that's that. Another wonderful London loop, thank you very much, says Anna Jones. And David Keel says, great video, well done. Thank you very much for all the comments. Keep them coming. I've just made myself a quick cup of coffee. But then I've already seen the videos. You see, I have the pleasure of seeing the videos before they go out, which is all rather jolly. It's 4 minutes past. We still have 3 more videos to go, but we have a quiz. We have a bit of a quiz. Now, Rupert Utley, who you saw earlier, he has sent... Oh, why is my... Oh, that's it. It's on a different channel. That's right. He sent in this picture, which I'm going to show you, and he wonders if anybody can tell him or us what it is. What's going on in the picture? If anybody knows, I'm sure you do. The dress might give it away. The shoes might give it away. Perhaps those unusual cage-like items that are in front of them might give it away. It is a tradition, perhaps people know. 106 watching, says Station Master's Choice, but only 33 likes. Come on, folks, get those clicks in. Get them in. Get them in. So can anybody tell me what's going on in that picture? I have got the information here somewhere, which will tell me what's in this picture. I did ask him, and... let's have a look. Did the shopping this morning at Large Astor in Nelson Huge. Nelson. Where's Nelson? In his column. Does he do... I imagine in the column all you could get was tin cans, one on top of the other. Red Moon Conjure says that my year 5 class has started learning about the Anglo-Saxons today. Next week I'm going to read Beowulf to them in the original Old English. Need to scrub up on my pronunciations. Oh, wow. Could you send in a video of you reading a bit of the Anglo-Saxon Beowulf Chronicle? Be lovely just to have a little snippet of that to play in, even if it's just on your phone. Bit of that old pronunciation. That would be lovely, Red Moon. Only if if you're up to it, it'd be fantastic. And also, let us know how the kids, year 5, what age group is that? Let us know how it's received. I'll be fascinated to know how kids, I assume it's kids, of course, how kids react to proper, good old English, or Anglo-Saxon English, in fact. That would be interesting. Social distancing measures. Is it the new social distancing measures? It could be, yes. David Vad seems to know. He says, is it the Abbott's Bromley horn dance? Well, Rupert does say here. He says, I was brought in Abbott's Bromley in Staffordshire, and it's a really old village that has the horn dance that goes back 1,000 years. Villagers dress up and go from pub to pub and farm to farm and drink ale and do a medieval type dance at each place at one day a year. The horns, which are very old, are the remainder of for the remainder of the year sit in the parish church, St. Nicholas, I believe. Just a bit of Englishness that might amuse your viewers. Prize, he says, could be some licorice. Yeah, you'll have a job getting the licorice out of my hands. Thank you very much. But anyway, there we are. Yes, indeed, the horn dance. And what a smashing... Hang on, where's the picture? Let's have another little picture. Gander at the picture, if we can get that up there. Let's have another look at them. There they are. They look a merry bunch, don't they? Very merry bunch. How lovely is that? Mark's Adventure says Nelson, Northern Town, not to do with the Admiral, but a family from the parish of Whately called Nelson. Oh, how interesting. Red Moon Conjure says they are 10 and 11-year-olds. They are giddy about runes. Oh, are they? How interesting. And I'll see what I can do about a vid. That would be fantastic. We'd love to play it in. Anglo-Saxons and a bit of the Beowulf stuff would be fantastic. Yeah, Anglo-Saxon, let's hear it, or Old English. There we go. Tool Podge Rog is up for it. Mark's Adventure says it's on the end of Pendle Hill. Ooh, are they just holding on by their pendles? No, their fingertips. Lovely. Oh, Nelson, up there, is it? Oh, interesting. In Lancashire, because Pendle Hill's in Lancashire, isn't it? Where did you say it was? Northern Town? Oh, just Northern Town. Yes. Oh, that'd be interesting. I did drive round that sort of neck of the woods. Lovely place. Robert Croser goes, Beowulf and Grendel, tore off his arm, killed his mum, and then killed by a dragon in bloodthirsty stuff, exactly. And Ernie Samet says, in 2005, I took a prop aeroplane from Colombo, just one more thing, to Wartown Jaffna in Ceylon. Soldiers, everyone as... Soldiers as there was a battle between the government and soldiers. Oh, soldiers everywhere, I beg your pardon. And the Tamil Tigers. Yes, I always think the Tamil Tigers, what they meant was they were tame tigers, but I don't think they're... Or enamel tigers. They would be a bit tamer, wouldn't they? Interesting. Oh, wow, you took a single prop aeroplane from Colombo. I'm glad you didn't take his cigar. That would be just one more thing. Did you do the murder? It's just that... It's just the street. I just had this one. I could do Colombo, couldn't I, with my one eye? I'll have to mug up on the actual accent, of course. It's just one more thing. Anyway, Beowulf was full of geets, says Michael Wheat. I don't know what geets are, but there we are. Nelson Clone, Burnley, all around Pendle Hill. Yes, marvellous, fantastic. Right, time for another video, and I am going to play, in no particular order, the next one. Hang on, let's get over there and we will see what it is. It's from Bernie. Now, he's gone to Crowhurst Hill, where the lovely Julia and I have been, and we've made a video there looking at the tree, the ancient tree there, and we did have a look at the church. There's two Crowhursts, one in Surrey and one in Sussex, and I believe this is the one in Sussex, down towards Hastings. Now, there's this debate that's going on, and I've kept myself out of the debate about, did the Battle of Hastings happen where the history books tell us near Battle, where the modern National Trust property is there, the Abbey there, or did it happen at Crowhurst? And some people have done that, and there was a bloke who's written a lot of stuff about it and published a book and what have you. And a lot of people think it was there too. Now, I spoke to a very good friend of mine who is a historian, and I said, look, what is the real story about this? And he said, there is this theory going round. He said, the trouble is there is absolutely no evidence whatsoever, and the abbey that they suggest is just historically wrong for the place. It's got thin walls for one thing, and it just isn't right. There is the evidence they've given is not backed up with anything. So I don't know. But some people do believe that this is where the Battle of Hastings took place. And there's lots of theories, but who knows? But let's find out from Bernie because he's got up early to do this, especially for us. So let's find out Bernie's theory.
Well, good morning all. You find me here at about 6:15 in the morning. And it's the 25th of April 2021. Well, we couldn't visit Crowhurst without visiting the churchyard and the abbey. And I don't know if you can hear that in the distance. Did you hear that? There's a woodpecker having a go at a tree somewhere. The bus service that used to come out here, the 75 from Hastings, almost never went to the station. It reversed into the road over there, which leads up to the station, and then made its way back to Hastings. I suppose it's quite appropriate 2 days after St George's Day that this is actually the Church of St George. have a walk up here. Now obviously I don't think I can go inside, but here is what a lot of people come to see. This ancient yew tree here, which has been here, they reckon, since about 700. Such an ancient tree, and it's mentioned, I think, in the Domesday Book. There's also evidence of it in the Bayeux Tapestry, and you can't come here without touching this grand old tree. Thank you for your history, sir. And, what tales you could tell, because I happen to believe this was the area where the actual Battle of Hastings took place, not where accepted history says. The only problem I find, and I'm not going to show it, I don't want to publicise it, as I was walking around, there was a bit of graffiti on one of those branches. It said Sean Ford was here. Really, Sean, honestly. And just looking across there to the ruins of the Abbey, and from evidence that I've seen in recent years, I believe that that was the Abbey constructed on the orders of William the Conqueror.
And that's probably where Bernie and I will differ on that, because I'm not convinced myself. I know this chap, Julian Humphreys, who he works for the Battlefields Trust, actually, and he's incredibly knowledgeable. And this is what he does. That's his day job. He goes and looks at battlefields and ums and ahs and does all these decisions and puts things in the balance and what have you. And he's been doing it for like 30 odd 40 years or something. Lovely bloke. I disagree with him on a number of things. A lot to do with Brexit, but that's another story. And we did sit in the car one day and we discussed the battle situation. And he tells, I mean, I'm, as I say, I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm not a historian. And I've heard about the tax dodge and all of that that has been put forward, and that apparently doesn't hold any water. I can't tell you the facts. I can't tell you any more than what I've been told. But I know that Julian certainly thinks that the story has no legs, but it's very popular. And people want to believe more than actually have the evidence for it. There's lots of stuff online about it. But anyway, it's fascinating. It's nice to have those mysteries, isn't it? Because sometimes when you just know everything, it's like, yeah, well, that's that then. But actually, you've got the mystery. Did it happen here? Did it happen here? I think it's healthy to have that debate. So there we are. It's all good stuff. Anyway, so that was that. Now, Bernie mentioned very interesting character there who goes around graffitiing trees. He doesn't really, surely. Sean Ford? No. But it does so happen that Sean Ford is talking to the trees and reading poems to them, and I believe he's after an oak this time.
Well, good morning all.
Yeah, that's not Sean Ford. Wait a minute, where's he gone? That's not Sean. I tell you, that's silly. That's Bernie. This is Sean.
Friends, welcome to Talking with Trees. I'm out in the woods and I'm going to look for an oak tree, and I'm going to read some poetry by Cicely Mary Barker, one from Dandelions and one for the Daisies, which is why this one's called Dandelions and Daisies. We're at this time of year, which is absolutely beautiful, along with some lesser celandine I just passed as well. So an extra treat, as this is the third Talking with Trees video, I'll read a third poem, The Tree, as well. So it is an oak tree, somewhere out there. Daisies are fun things, aren't they? The word daisy comes from, it's derived from day's eye, because they'd wake up as soon as the sun was up, they'd open up the petals and they'd be eyeing up the sun all day, you know. People make necklaces out of them, especially this time of year with Beltane coming up. So it's a sweet little flower. You can use it in salads, you can have it in sandwiches, in soups. It's edible, funny enough. There's plenty of little sweeties about too. Dandelions are quite remarkable, actually. The word dandelion comes from the French word lion's tooth, which I suppose is like the word dentist. You know, you get dent de lion or something like that. Masters of survival, they're known as, dandelions. They've been used for medicines for over 1,000 years by the Egyptians and Romans and the Greeks. It's good for the liver, there's toxins in there, and it's got more vitamin A than spinach and more vitamin C than your tomato. So it's a remarkable thing, the dandelion. Been around and they're here to stay. Look at that spectacular view. Right, let's find an oak tree. Here's the beautiful mighty oak. I shall read today's poem too. And this poem is by Cicely Mary Barker and it's called The Song of the Dandelion Fairy. Here's the dandelion's rhyme. See my leaves with tooth-like edges, blow my clocks to tell the time. See me flaunting by the hedges, in the meadow, in the lane. Gay and naughty in the garden, pull me up, I grow again, asking neither leave nor pardon. Sillies, what are you about, with your spades and hoes of iron? You can never drive me out, me, the dauntless dandelion. Here's the second poem by Cicely. This one's called The Song of the Daisy Fairy. Come to me and play with me, I'm the baby's flower. Make a necklace gay with me, spend the whole long day with me, till the sunset hour. I must say good night, you know, till tomorrow's playtime. Close my petals tight, you know, shut the red and white, you know, sleeping till the daytime. And finally, this one is the song of the celandine fairy. Before the hawthorn leaves unfold, all buttercups put forth their gold. By every sunny footpath shine the stars of the lesser celandine. Thank you for listening to Talking with Trees with me, Sean. Next week I shall be looking for a yew tree. I know where the yew tree is, it's out in Crowhurst, and I'll be celebrating Beltane, a pagan festival, which is on Saturday the 1st of May, so I'm really looking forward to that. Might be a slightly longer video.
There we go, Dandelions and Daisies with Sean Ford. Thank you so much, Sean. You reminded me, actually, that when I was a member of Horsham Young Players many, many moons ago, I was in a play called Dandelion Time by Patricia Wood. And it's the 3-month, it's the summary of this is, I've just found it online. I thought, I wonder if the play is actually in existence. The three modern day children suddenly find themselves dressed in Edwardian costume. It seems that Father Time has been kidnapped and the world is out of time, together with Hickory Dickory Dock, which is the character I played. Thank you very much. I was pipe smoking with a long scarf. It was a bit like a Doctor Who character, I think. What's that? Requelen, a moth-eaten raven, and with the help of dandelion clocks, the children set off to rescue Father Time. It's kind of a weird version of, if I remember rightly, Quantum Leap. They meet with many varied and interesting characters and situations before they're finally successful in their quest. There we are. It's given the game away. So that's that. Anyway, I was in that probably in 1980 something or other. Showing me age, Dandelion Time. Yes, good fun that was. Right, so there we go. So we have a bit of an ancient theme these last 3 videos. There we were in Crowhurst, and now we've been to the Dandelion and Daisies, reading poems from the past. It's time to go up north to the lovely Robert Croser land, otherwise known as Cumbria, or Cumberland if you're like me and insist on giving it a strange name, to an ancient church and a just as beautiful ancient churchyard. And we do that with any luck by pressing one of these.
We few, we happy, happy few, we band of Vobenauts. Second stop. This is an early Christian site. Now this church is 16th century, but I have it on good authority that has been a church or a sacred site here for thousands of years. Now I'm just going to pan round and show you what I can see. Very ancient churchyard there, that ruin in the corner. I'm assuming it's the gravedigger's bothy or cottage. Round you can just see Cross Fell in the background, which is very apt considering what we're looking at. Just look at this overgrown churchyard. Isn't it romantic? It's brilliant. And this is the Church of St Ninians at Hornby. Now Hornby no longer exists as a village, but the church does. There's a few scattered houses here and there, but the village itself is long gone. I don't know why, but I'll do some research and let you all know. Let's look at this. Look at the blossom overlooking the path here. Isn't that brilliant? I don't know the tree. Trees aren't my thing. All churches, ancient sites, stone circles, standing stones, all castles, that's my thing. I'm going to head to the door. Now this has been, the porch was rebuilt in 1841, but the church is 16th century. And it's a lot older than that, but it was rebuilt in the 16th century. I'm going to go in now. Hopefully Vobes, it's open. Wow, look at that. I've kept the door open, haven't I? Naughty. That proves it's old. That's Celtic. It's probably pre-Christian, some local god or whatever. There it is. Now let's go inside. And just look at this, it's like a film set. It's what you imagine an old church to look like. Font with 1662. Coats of arms on the walls. Lovely stained glass window there, probably of St. Ninian himself. Or Christ has just risen from the dead. A few old artefacts there that have been found by visitors. On the pew. I think it's still a working church. There's the arms box and a visitor book. Oh yeah, someone's been here. I've made a donation. But look at these old pews. Look at this. All stalls for the gentry. Keep them away from the plebs. The aisle. We're coming up to the nave. It's absolutely brilliant. It's unspoiled. If I must say, a tad spooky. So I'm the only one here, and it's an hour to get here over fields in a very old footpath, worn footpath, and I've had to carry my bike the whole way. William Lord Brougham's buried here, 1795. There's a very simple altar, and set into the floor is a tombstone for someone or other. Another Henry Brough Castle I've just visited. This one is even older. Look at that. That's probably medieval, 16th century. But the highlight is over here, this panel. Just look at that. Look at those carvings. Look at that. That is old. The woman, or it could be a wood rose. It's a wild man of the woods. The dragon there and all that foliage. And above there's more. Look at them. Isn't it brilliant? I am well impressed with this place. This leads to a door to the outside. 1660 AP. I don't know who AP was. But there's some kind of prayers and stuff. Our Father, which blah, blah, blah. A nice little, very simple, very rustic. Now this is getting on for 5 minutes, so I'm going to say ta-ta now. But I'll just walk to the end here. Just look at those old stalls. Coat of arms on the walls. It is so cool in here. Cool as in cool. As in temperature. Outside's quite warm. I'll just leave you these two local coat of arms, pan round,
and there we are. No, I noticed I was desperately looking whilst watching that to see if you found the train set, but clearly the Hornby train set was nowhere to be seen. It must have been underneath one of the box pews. But never mind. What a fascinating and lovely place. It's wonderful when you come across one of these where they've still got the box pews and there's so much the hatchments and the and all of that beautiful old carving and what have you. They probably had murals, not Muriel. Muriel probably went to the wall. She may have been one of the weakest ones there. She was the weakest link, actually. Goodbye. But they may have had a lot of murals on the walls. It was all whitewashed and changed in the 17th century by the looks of things. But as you say, most likely a much earlier church. It'd be fascinating to find out what happened to Hornby. Presumably they disappeared before the railways came. Many, many years before the railways, I should think. Although, actually, if that church is, in this early 17th century, you say, then be curious, it's probably when the enclosures happened. Although I don't know what happened up in Cumberland, in your area. Probably a massive enclosure, probably no work, probably all went off into the nearest towns, wherever that is, and all the little shacks and what have you were pulled down, and it was all grazing land. But there you go. Deborah Martin says, is it a plague village? It's funny because a lot of people think that these vanishing villages were plagues, and whilst that was in some instances not as common as everybody thinks, much more likely that enclosures, lack of work, other things caused things. Villages moved about a lot more than people realised. I've just read a book about it. It was absolutely fascinating, and you can look at a map and you can see where the roads changed. When the Romans came in, they put in a road here, and the village shifted because it made more sense to be by the road. And because most of the village buildings were all timber and quite easily erectable, often they would just take them down and shift them along because they needed to be nearer where the roads were and things like that. Or there'd be a new bridge, and there may have been a ford over here, but the bridge is over there, and suddenly the village starts to just move. More people come in and they do that, and it's fascinating how the village system all worked. I've been absolutely fascinated. And then very, very depressed in the last 100 years of what's happened to villages up and down the country and all of that. But I'm doing lots of research on that to bring a series of videos on the decline of the English village at some point. It's a terrible story. Now they're just the ghettos of the rich, or they're an annex of a town, which is a shame. But thank you very much, Robert Croser, for going in there. What a charming and lovely church with a beautiful churchyard with clearly some very ancient land in there with wonderful wild flowers and goodness knows what in that place. Very interesting. Have to go up there sometime. You have to take me when I'm next up in Cumbria to that place. It'll be fascinating. Anyway, that's it. That's all we've got time for in today's show. Thank you so much for joining me this evening and helping me get through. Thank you to our lovely callers, the Emily Champion and Bonnie. Very nice to have you both on the air, and both women. So there we go. It shows it can be done. And to all my lovely contributors for sending in your videos, to Bonnie for the flowers, to G Ramps for his encounter with the police, to Rupert Utley for his Hong Kong Fooey lovely thingamy, Sean James Cameron for the loop, Sean for his dandelions, Bernie for the Crowhurst, and Mr. Croser for the lovely ancient church at St. Ninians, not St. Trinians. St. Trinians and their Hornby set. Thank you for Rupert also for the Horn Dance quiz. We've covered a lot of interesting things, have we not, in today's show? It's been great. Back again on Friday. Very much look forward to seeing you. Big thanks to Julia and Judith, who's been moderating in the chat room. Thank you for you to coming and watching. It's all been great fun. And I don't know what I'm up to tomorrow. There is a video for you, but the weather has just sort of gone like this. I've had a few things I've had to do. So sometimes I'm in, sometimes I'm out with my Bald Explorer videos. I try and churn them out every day as I'm doing the best I can. If you want to support what I do, you can become a patron and you can chuck a little bit of money my way. It helps to completely fund things like this that we do each week that everybody hopefully gets some enjoyment from, and it's very much appreciated. Go to baldexplorer.com and make your donation there. But that's it from me. Look after yourselves. Have a lovely rest of the week. Let's hope the sun comes out. It's sort of... oh, hello. It's changed. Oh, come back, Mr. Vobes. There we go. It's changed its colours recently. We had a bit of rain down here, but not to worry. Anyway, till next time, from me, goodbye. Take care. All the best. Bye-bye.